I don't have a papa. Can you be my daddy forever? The small voice echoed through the quiet church, cutting through the distant sounds of Christmas carols rehearsing in the sanctuary. 4-year-old Ember Grace stood in her crimson velvet dress, her golden curls catching the soft glow of stained glass, her small hand tentatively reaching toward the man sitting alone in the last pew. Tears streaked her cherub cheeks, her lower lip trembling with the kind of vulnerability that could shatter even the most guarded heart. Holden Whitaker froze, his breath catching in his chest. At 33, the CEO of Whitaker Technologies had mastered the art of emotional control. Boardrooms, negotiations, hostile takeovers, none had moved him in years. But this child, his university best friend's daughter, had just asked the question that laid bare his own profound loneliness. "Ember," he whispered, his voice rough. "Sweetheart, where's your mama?" "She's helping with the angel costumes," Ember said, stepping closer until she stood between his knees. "But, Mr. Holden, last Christmas my papa left. He said he found someone better, and we weren't enough anymore. Mama cries when she thinks I'm sleeping. And today, watching all the other kids with their daddies practicing for the nativity play, it hurts so much here." She pressed her tiny fist against her heart with devastating simplicity. Holden pulled Ember onto his lap, wrapping his arms around her small frame as she buried her face in his coat. His own eyes burned with unshed tears. He understood abandonment intimately. His wife had left 8 months ago, choosing her colleague over their marriage, leaving Holden to rattle around in an empty penthouse, building empires to fill the void where connection used to live. "I know that hurt, Ember. I know it so well," he murmured into her hair. "Then you understand," she said, pulling back to look at him with eyes far too wise for 4 years old. "You're sad too, I can tell. Mama says you come to church alone now, just like us. Maybe we could be sad together, and then maybe we wouldn't have to be sad anymore." The simple logic of a child's heart, the idea that shared loneliness could transform into shared healing, struck Holden with the force of revelation. Before he could respond, footsteps approached. "Ember Grace, there you are! Oh, Holden!" Verity Langston appeared, breathless and beautiful in a powder blue dress that matched her worried eyes. At 27, she'd been Holden's closest friend since their undergraduate years at Columbia, the woman who'd understood him better than his own wife ever had. Holden had been best man at her wedding 5 years ago, godfather to Ember, and silent witness to the slow unraveling of Verity's marriage to a man who'd ultimately chosen his administrative assistant over his family last Christmas Eve. "I'm sorry," Verity said, reaching for her daughter. "She's supposed to be rehearsing the angel processional, but she's been struggling today. The anniversary is hard," Holden finished gently. "I know. It's been 8 months for me, and every milestone feels like reopening wounds." He met Verity's gaze, and something unspoken passed between them. Recognition of mutual pain, of parallel heartbreaks, of the unexpected kinship that suffering creates. Ember clung to Holden's neck. "Mama, can Mr. Holden come to our house for Christmas Eve dinner? Please? He shouldn't be alone, and we have enough mashed potatoes for 3 people. You said so." Verity's cheeks flushed. "Sweetheart, Mr. Holden probably has plans." "I don't," Holden interrupted, surprising himself. "I've been planning to work through Christmas, actually. Avoiding it entirely seemed easier than acknowledging it." "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard," Ember declared with characteristic 4-year-old bluntness. "You have to come. You have to." Verity's eyes glistened. "You're welcome, Holden. Truly. If you'd like company, we'd love to have you." That Christmas Eve, Holden arrived at Verity's modest townhouse with arms full of gifts, carefully chosen books for Ember, a first-edition poetry collection for Verity, and ingredients for the elaborate dessert he'd learned to make in culinary school before business consumed his life. The warmth of their small home, decorated with handmade ornaments and twinkling lights, felt like sanctuary after months in his sterile penthouse. As they cooked together, Ember helping by arranging cookies on plates with meticulous care, Verity shared what she'd never spoken aloud. I blamed myself for months, thought if I'd been more interesting, more attentive, less focused on my writing, Trevor wouldn't have strayed. My therapist keeps reminding me that his choices aren't my failure, but the voice in my head doesn't always listen. Holden paused in his vegetable chopping. My wife told me I was emotionally unavailable, said I loved my company more than her. And maybe she was right. I threw myself into work after we lost the baby, used achievement as anesthesia. But instead of talking to me, she found comfort in someone else's arms. We both failed, but she made the choice to leave. You lost a baby? Verity's hand found his arm, her touch gentle and grounding. I'm so sorry, Holden. I wish I'd known. I wish I'd been there for you. You were raising a baby, living your own life. I got very good at pretending I was fine. He covered her hand with his. But Verity, sitting here with you and Ember, I realize I haven't felt this present, this alive in years. Your daughter asked if she could borrow me, and maybe I need to be borrowed. Maybe we all need each other more than we've been admitting. Verity stopped walking, snow catching in her hair, her expression of hope and fear. Holden, that's too much to ask. You're not asking. I'm offering, begging. He adjusted Ember's sleeping weight in his arms. Today in church, your daughter asked if I could be her daddy forever. And Verity, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Not because I want to replace Trevor. He'll always be her father, however absent. But because I want to be someone she can trust, someone who shows up. I want to matter to someone again. And you too? You make me feel like maybe I already do. Tears froze on Verity's cheeks. You matter so much, to both of us. But Holden, I need to be honest about something. She took a shaky breath. I've had feelings for you for years. Even during my marriage, though I never acted on them, never even acknowledged them fully. Trevor sensed it, I think. Said I looked at you like you hung the moon, and looked at him like furniture. I told myself it was just friendship, that I'd outgrown that college infatuation. But every major moment of my adult life, you've been the person I wanted to call first. You've been my touchstone, my conscience, my home. They stood in the snow, the weight of years of unspoken truth settling between them, neither knowing how to navigate this revelation. Ember stirred in Holden's arms, murmuring in her sleep. We can't rush this, Verity finally said. We're both broken, both healing. Ember has to be the priority, and she needs stability, not adults figuring out complicated feelings. Agreed, Holden said, but can we figure it out together? Can we build something slowly, carefully, with full honesty this time? I want to be Uncle Holden to Ember, and I want to be whatever you need me to be for you. Friend first, always friend. But maybe, someday, something more. Over the following months, a new rhythm emerged. Holden attended Ember's preschool events, taught her to play chess with princess-themed pieces, stayed for family dinners twice weekly. He and Verity co-parented without the label, supporting each other through hard days and celebrating small victories. They went to counseling individually and eventually together, learning to communicate the feelings they'd buried for years. Ember blossomed under the attention, her grief over Trevor's abandonment slowly healing as Holden proved through consistent presence that he wasn't leaving. She started calling him my Holden with possessive pride. One evening, 9 months after that Christmas Eve, as they tucked Ember into bed together, she looked up at them with her wise, knowing eyes. Are you going to be my real daddy now, not just my borrowed one? Holden glanced at Verity, who nodded permission. He knelt beside Ember's bed, taking her small hand. I will never replace your father. He'll always be your paga, even if he's not here. But Ember, if it's okay with you and your mama, I'd like to be your daddy in all the ways that matter. Showing up, loving you, being someone you can count on forever. Not borrowed, permanent, chosen. Like a chosen family? Ember asked. Like Pastor Williams talks about. Exactly like that, Verity whispered, tears streaming down her face. Then yes, Ember declared. Yes, yes, yes. I choose you, Holden. I've been choosing you since that day in church when you let me cry on your coat. And I choose you, Ember Grace, Holden said, his own voice breaking. Every single day I choose you. Both of you. After Ember fell asleep, Holden and Verity sat on the porch, watching snow begin to fall. The first of a new winter, another Christmas approaching. You know what Ember taught me? Holden said, taking Verity's hand. That asking for what we need isn't weakness. That vulnerability is the only path to real connection. A 4-year-old had more courage in one question than I'd shown in years of carefully controlled living. She changed both our lives, Verity agreed. By being brave enough to ask a lonely man if he'd be her daddy, she gave us permission to rebuild, to believe we deserved second chances at family, at love, at happiness. Do you think we'll be okay? Holden asked, building something real from all this brokenness? Verity squeezed his hand. I think broken people who choose each other with open eyes and honest hearts have the best chance of all. Because we know what we're risking, we know what we're choosing, and we're choosing it anyway. As they sat in comfortable silence, snow falling gently around them, Holden understood that sometimes the family we need isn't the one we planned. It's the one we build from unexpected moments of courage, from small voices asking impossible questions, from the willingness to show up for each other when showing up feels terrifying. Ember's simple plea in a church had become the catalyst for all of them to stop hiding from hope and start building something true. Kindness isn't always grand gestures. Sometimes it's simply being present for those who need us, even when we're struggling ourselves. When we open our hearts to chosen family, when we let ourselves be vulnerable enough to ask and offer love, we create bonds stronger than biology, forged in the courage to keep believing that belonging is possible. The greatest gift we can give is showing up, consistently and honestly, proving through action that some people won't leave, won't abandon, won't stop choosing us, even when we're broken, even when we're afraid, even when we've forgotten how to hope. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's spread more stories of kindness and hope together.